It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. We missed you. I'm so glad you're here because we are going to be talking about something so amazing and we love engaging with our viewers online. More so when they send us interesting wildlife videos that intrigue us and make us want to find out more.
Yeah, find out more indeed. Now, one such video recently caught our attention. Now, let me tell you, it was a video of a scavenger sea snail. Listen to this, eating a fish on the beach. Yes, you heard correctly. Now, Kirstia Govender is here. She's a marine science and adult training educator at the Two Oceans Aquarium. She's here to tell us more about these very, very interesting creatures of the ocean. Kirstia, how are we doing this morning?
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me here. All good?
I think we are like very, very excited.
Yes.
Like two kids that have just arrived at Show and Tell, and we're dying to find out more about this crazy creature.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What is it even? If it's, am I pronouncing it correctly? A scavenger snail? Is that?
Yeah, a scavenger snail, as you say, because it's an opportunistic animal that's found on the sandy shore.
All right.
And if should there be a jellyfish or a dead fish or any sort of animal that's just washed ashore, this creature takes its step to go and actually feast on this meal.
Okay.
So as scavengers, they would feed on dead, decaying material, also like animals and things like that. So very interesting animal.
It sounds intriguing. Like, I mean, obviously we know our garden snails growing up. Often we found ourselves like, you know, trying to chow garden snails.
What did you do?
I'm just saying, when you're light teeth, it's one of those things. But this is fascinating. So, you know, how does this differ from any other sea snail?
Yeah, so it's interesting in a way. It's just a phenomenon you find on the beach, especially when there's jellyfish wash-ups, especially after big storm surge at sea. And then immediately you'll just see this congregation of plow snails just making their way to feast on this animal. And they're part of the family of gastropods, so they're very similar to the garden snail, as you mentioned. But these are obviously the marine version. And with them, their body, they've got, gastropods means basically stomach foot. So their digestive system is on top of their large foot, and they've got a shell to protect their organ.
Stomach foot?
Stomach foot,
like all the essentials, you just need a foot and a stomach. What else do you need in life?
Walking into a restaurant, that's like what they do.
They're basically doing that. They glide, they surf the wave. So what they do is, when the tide is out, they wait for that appropriate time, and they glide with a very large foot that makes them different to the other snails. They glide the waves, and essentially they're picking up scents in the water. So,
that is incredible.
And then they use that flat foot to burrow into the sand again, so they don't recede when the tide goes
now you
again.
mentioned was it plow snail in that sort of scenario there? Where can these snails in general be found? Is it like any beach that you go to, just kind of wait around for a dead jellyfish and then something can we, like, you know what I mean? How do you incite this, the viewing of it, and how common is it to actually see this actually happening?
So this very cool snail, I must say, is you'll find all over in South African shores, sandy shores especially, so sandy beaches and in the surf zone. Especially in South Africa, people know them. If you're walking along the shore, you'll just see all of these little, almost like butterfly snails swimming along. And you'll see their tracks as well, and you know that they've been around. And also intertidal zones and rock pools. I've seen some incredible stuff from just rock pooling, an abalone, an octopus that was dead, but these guys are just feasting on them and in their numbers. So it's incredible how they just take over.
Send in the cleanup crew. That's a Poseidon in the ocean. Just send them in.
That's exactly why they're beach cleaners of the sandy shore. They're very important to the ecosystem as well. And they clean up, basically, and do their job there. Yeah.
See, there's no such thing as a small creature.
Yeah.
We all count. Anyway,
matter.
Right, so I've heard that these snails are blind. So how do they find their food if they're just gastropod, stomach and foot?
Right, yeah, so they're very...
Where's the nose?
Like I wanted to know, how do they find the food? Do they just come across something? Let's chow that.
Yeah.
It's a glass bottle. How does that work?
Yeah, very, very interesting animals. So yeah, they rely completely on their sense of smells. So they have a little siphon that sticks out, and that allows water to flow in, and then that flows over their mantle cavity, and then there's signals that they need to travel where this food is. So they're picking up proteins in the water of dead material like fish and animals, and most of these gastropods, like your whelks and winkles and things, they have the siphon to do that. And approach, and then you would like to know how they feed while I'm at it?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
And how they survive and they're feeding. So they have a proboscis that sticks out, kind of like the siphon, but another little tentacle that sticks out on the other end. And that is a modified, almost like a tooth. We call it a radula inside. And they use that to drill holes into the flesh and the tissue of the animals. Some of them also have like a salivary gland that helps to break down the tissues even more. And then they just swirp it all up like a liquid and get to the soft tissue of the animal. So they can just keep on feeding and eating, and that's how they can ingest their food.
A good life. It's like smoothies on demand.
Exactly.
That's like gentle and terrifying if you think about it, you know?
I don't know if I love it or if I'm petrified, but one thing is I'm definitely fascinated by this animal. We're going to be continuing this conversation. I'm hoping there's a video or something we can see to reference this, so stick around, Mzansi. We're going to be finding out more about the scavenger snail, the plow snail, and all the other incredible, new and fascinating things in this animal world. We'll see you there.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso, S3, and we're learning about snails today, not just any snails, scavenger snails, plow snails. They are fascinating. I mean, Raul, we just learned that the way they feed is basically they do mobile smoothies.
Yeah, that sounds incredible,
Right?
honestly. They have a foot, they have a stomach, and they love smoothies. It's
Done.
like everyone's spirit animal out here. Like, Krisha, it's been obviously incredible to just learn about these creatures. I know there's so many of them when it comes to the ocean, the big blue, but maybe something that I think people might be concerned about is when they are going out onto the beach.
Yeah.
Beach goers, especially with the beautiful coastal regions we have in our country. Can these things become somewhat of a nuisance for beach goers? Is there something that they need to be aware of? Like, are they to be left alone? Are they important to the environment? Or can we just pick them up and play with them and put them in a box and go home and make them our pets?
Yeah.
No!
Right. No, so I'm all for plow snails. So whenever I'm just immediately snapping pictures and wanting to get the close-up of that little liquefaction process.
Yes.
But most people will find them, they're just as regular snails. There's no problems to them. They're part of the ecosystem, which is very important. They serve as food for other animals, so like crustaceans, fish, even as well as humans. I mean, people can eat them as well.
Okay.
In terms of snails in general, so not just the plow snails.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you were talking about garden snails, and probably some people do eat them as a delicacy, depending where you are.
Yeah.
They eat
What,
the foot.
garden snails?
Yeah.
No, I was saying when I was
snails.
growing up, like suddenly I heard stories. My mom would tell me, like, she just heard crunch, crunch, crunch. And I was like, I found something. I was about 4 years old. And this took me all the way back there. I'm not recommending it, not at all. I'm not advocating it either.
Okay.
Look after our ecosystem.
Yeah.
But so that eating part, I actually do need to ask that, because sometimes you get on the beach. You know, the first time you learned about a blue bottle.
Oh, yeah, I think we all remember that.
So is there any risk to humans if these things are around, or if you got a kid grabs it and gets fascinated? Are there any risks?
Yeah. So if you're referring to plow snails, best to leave them alone.
Okay.
Because they obviously can't see what they're holding on to, but they're attracted to it if there's a sense of smell.
Yes.
And they can have a nasty little bite from their radula, so their proboscis that sticks out.
And that can bite a human, right?
It can.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's best to leave them alone.
Yeah.
But in general, in terms of snails, there are some harmful snails out there.
Yeah.
And one is an example here is like a cone snail that is harmful to humans. And you may think, how is this animal?
How is that harmful?
Yeah, so basically they're also part of the snails, and their proboscis is very different. So they hunt specifically on fish or even worms, and they have almost like a harpoon type of radula in their proboscis. So it's like ready to strike. So they wait, and they're waiting for opportunity to wait for the fish, as in if it passes by, they can just stick it out and then poke it, inject the venom, and then just retract it back in and bring the fish in. So that helps.
Where in that shell
paralyze.
does it, like, come
So
out?
there's parts of this animal that is designed to come out, and then you'll see
There it
that.
is.
There
there we
you'll
go.
see exactly that. That's that harpoon that sticks out, and that's injected into its
snail.
prey. And that's a siphon that allows water to flow in and out, so it gets a sense of where the food is, where its prey is.
This is a snail, right?
This is a snail.
It's got a harpoon.
I feel like the snail went in the future and got like an upgrade and then came back and he was like, now I'm going to show everybody
So-
what I got.
Look at this.
These animals are incredible.
Here it comes.
Is this the
Watch
harpoon?
it, the harpoon.
Okay.
Here's the
Proboscis coming
proboscis
through.
comes through, and here we
Target
go.
acquired.
That's it.
Initiate.
That's right, and don't forget,
And
snails never fail.
engage.
Here it goes. This is why I love nature channels, for this exact reason. And now the snail has a proboscis and a harpoon, destroying the fish. The fish is paralyzed and can't move. The fish moves around and is digested by the snail. Wonderful. Look at that.
That is pretty hardcore. Firstly, nice stuff on the narration.
Thank you. I'm actually looking at another job.
I thought snails were these docile, chilled creatures. Never again. They're quite hectic.
I used to be that person as well. When I didn't know this when I was studying in my days, and then to know I've been picking up random snails, but I need to be aware of the cone snail. And there's like so many things that we're already so afraid of in the ocean, and then now there's a lurking snail that can get up to about 20 centimeters in length. So they're
that's quite big.
So they're around the world in terms of the Indo-Pacific, and there are in our waters as well. So especially along the east coast, there are 1 or 2 species in Cape Town waters, but not as like frequently found, but they're there. And the most venomous one is the Conus geographus and the Conus textile. Those 2 species are deadly to humans, and the amount of toxins that can penetrate in terms of paralyzing completely, neurotoxins and all effects. And I think less than 100 people have died from that.
A snail.
Yeah.
Look, I can definitely say I spend copious amounts of time in the ocean. I've never seen any of these. Sometimes you don't be scared and like, I don't want to go to the beach anymore. You're probably lucky if you actually do see them. But wow, what fascinating creatures
But it's
these are.
interesting because we don't hear about this as often, but they're there. I just need to be alert and aware. Don't pick up random rocks in the ocean. Don't pick up shells. Don't take shells home because, you know, there's hermit crabs out there that also love their little homes. So there's many things that we just need to be aware of when we're at the beach. Yeah, that's really important facts.
You were awesome.
You're welcome back anytime, eh? Like, just
next time we'll bring some animals with me.
Yeah, show and tell. We're booking you.
There's some interesting animals that I'd love to share with you guys, and you guys
it's a
come
date.
with us.
Yes, it's official. Thank you so much, though, Kosha. It's been honestly such a wealth of knowledge and education coming from you. And like Carl says, you make it sound so easy. It doesn't sound complicated. It sounds like I just chat to you all day and be educated on this. So we really look forward to the next encounter. And of course, Mzansi, you want to find out more about Mother Nature and all the magic and wonders that it does possess, then you can obviously head over to the Two Oceans Aquarium. They have incredible education opportunities. You get people like this that are just guiding you through the whole place and all through the magic of the ocean. And don't forget to go and explore it for yourself. But look and don't touch.